Hey, I'm Eric, and this is my dog Shadow.
Good boy, Shadow. Ah.
And this is one of my properties. It has 4 tenants in it. It has 4 units. I have a mortgage on the property. I collect rent. Its address is 4537 St. Charles Place. St. Charles Place? St. Charles Place? St. Charles Place? St. Charles Place! Oh, whoa. Shadow? Shadow? Buddy? Bud? Shadow? Are you okay? Shadow! He'll be okay. My favorite board game as a kid was Monopoly. Oh, the joy and anguish was exhilarating. The long nights, the fights, and the victories. Not unlike my current life as a real estate investor. In fact, all the tactics I've learned in investment strategy can be applied directly to Monopoly, and vice versa. Hit that like and subscribe button, and if you want to dominate in Monopoly and real life Monopoly, this is the video for you. Let's begin with a few baseline Monopoly rules. All the rules can be found in the description below. The goal in Monopoly is to be the last man or woman standing. Or technically, sitting. The last person still sitting with all the money and property wins. Everyone starts with $1,500. So each person has a net worth of $1,500 cash. No properties, assets, or debt. We're all equal to start. When you land on a property, you can buy it or pass, in which case the other players bid in an auction to own it. When you land on chance or community chest, you pick a card and follow its directions. If you land on go to jail, you go directly to jail, and you either pay $50 to get out on your next turn, or you roll doubles to avoid the fee. Technically, in Monopoly, you're buying pieces of land that you charge rent for when people occupy that spot. And then you're building houses and eventually a hotel on that land. The land becomes more valuable with the improvements on top, thus you can charge more rent. All players roll both dice, and the person with the highest total starts the game. There is luck in this game, so even with crafty strategic play, you can't always win. The key is increasing your probability. Las Vegas casinos make millions of dollars because they have the slightest edge of probability. A 55% win rate really adds up over time and makes the casino a fortune. Part of skillful Monopoly play is understanding the odds of rolling dice. 7 is the most likely thrown roll. 6 and 8 are next, 5 and 9 after that, 4 and 10, 3 and 11, and finally 2 and 12 are the least likely to be rolled. Knowing the odds gives you understanding of where you'll most likely land. Of all the property to purchase in the game, there are 2 utilities, 4 railroads, 8 sets of land, and not all are worth purchasing when you have the opportunity. In real life, there are multiple types of investment properties: apartment buildings, industrial complexes, retail centers, hotels, office buildings, in all sorts of locations. Picking the specific investment is crucial to your success in Monopoly and in life. Let's start with the least expensive pieces of land: Baltic and Mediterranean. This reminds me of buying a small duplex in real life. For the game, if you own both, you've made a Monopoly, while most others require 3 properties. Once you have a set, you have the option to add 4 houses and then transform them to a hotel by paying extra fees. Baltic and Mediterranean cost $60 each to buy, which is a relatively small amount compared to your $1,500 starting net worth. Buying one is just 4% of your total money. Buying both is 8%, and it costs $50 per house, and technically 5 houses on each equals a hotel. So that means $500 to get 2 hotels, plus what you originally spent. You'd be all in for $620, which is 41% of your net worth. That's relatively inexpensive and not too shabby for a Monopoly with hotels. Small properties can really work out for you while investing in the real world. They're a good place to start with limited amounts of money. I really focus on return on investment, ROI. Remember that video? Each asset has a particular return. Let's calculate Baltic and Mediterranean. If an opponent lands on Mediterranean, the rent is $2. I paid $60 for the property, so 2 divided by 60 is 3.3%. With one house, the rent is $10. but it costs me $50 to upgrade to having the house. So my return is $10 rent divided by 110 total cost, which is 9.1%. My return goes up as I purchase more improvements. The same is the case in real life when deciding to improve a real property. The key is maximizing return percentage. If an opponent lands on Mediterranean with a hotel, they would owe me $250, and they would owe me $450 if they land on Baltic. The total rent combined is $700. The total cost combined to buy these hotels was $620. So $700 divided by $620 is 112% return on investment. You can do the same analysis for investment properties. My real goal ROI is between 50 and 100%. If I hit that mark, I'm extremely happy. There are a few lessons here. Your return percentage is way better when you have a complete set with hotels on them. It's a 3% return on Mediterranean with no houses, and it's a 112% return with a hotel. So upgrade as quickly as possible. The property with the best return gives you a clear advantage. Also, the total cost to get hotels matter. It only costs $620 to get there with Baltic and Mediterranean. You still have plenty of cash. In real life, my return goes higher when I do renovations and improvements. I buy beat up properties so that I can add value, thus increasing my ROI. I pay attention to what I'm spending compared to what I have in cash. It's very important to have some liquidity, meaning having quick access to cash in case of emergencies. You might want to stay more liquid based on the spot of the board you're on. If you have a tough roll ahead because there's opponents' hotels looming, you might want to wait a turn before you purchase more assets yourself. Another benefit of having liquidity is being able to pounce on opportunities when they arrive. In real life too, you need liquid cash to buy a deal. Your main goal should be acquiring one monopoly and building up to a hotel. Don't spread yourself too thin buying an assortment of properties that hold you back from your real objective. Shadow, you gotta eat some food, buddy. It's dinner time. At least drink some water. Shadow? I'm gonna get you out of this. I promise you. Next land set to analyze is the Light Blue Babies, Oriental, Vermont, and Connecticut Avenues. That's my personal favorite monopoly. They're inexpensive to get to 3 hotels. It's a total cost of $1,070. And with a total rent being $1,700, $1,700 divided by 1,070 is 158%. That's huge. And it only costs 71% of your net worth to get there. Every other monopoly costs more than your net worth to get to 3 hotels. So it's a huge advantage to be able to get there sooner. The quicker you can get to a higher return percentage, the wealthier you will become. The first property I bought in life was a 3-unit apartment building. I go into that story here. I bought that triplex for $1,070,000 and it sold for $1.7 million. Let's take a look at my least favorite monopoly set, the Green Goblins, Pacific, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania Avenues. They cost a total of $3,920 to get a monopoly, and their total rent is $3,950. They're the lowest return with hotels at 100%. Not to mention, it'll cost you almost 3 times your net worth to get there. You'll be knocked out of the game before you ever get going. In my opinion, the greens are a distraction set. Avoid going for this monopoly at all costs. More expensive does not mean better. It's a trap for the inexperienced player. The same is the case for the yellow monopoly. And even the famous Boardwalk and Park Place monopoly is not good business at 127% because it costs you $2,750 to only have 2 hotels. It isn't that you can't win with these monopoly sets, it's just a Hail Mary situation and your chance of winning is much lower. Speaking of Hail Marys, avoid the railroads and utilities at all costs. They're your surest path to defeat. Even with all 4 railroads, your return is capped at 25%. For the utilities, the very max return you can achieve is 40%. Enough said. Don't buy them. Unless you can get a crazy discount at auction, avoid purchase. They only eat up your capital and distract from your real mission. The orange properties are arguably the best monopoly. St. James Place, Tennessee, and New York Avenue. They cost $2,060 for 3 hotels and have a total rent of $2,900, which is 143% return. It's not as high as 158% return of the light blues, But orange is the most likely landed on property in the game because players end up in jail frequently. And from jail, if you roll a 6, 8, or 9, you land on orange. Orange has a much higher rent than light blue and has the ability to end players' chances of winning the game when they land on one orange hotel. It takes 1 or 2 lands on light blue's hotel to have the same effect. But you can have those hotels much earlier, so I pick light blue as my favorite to win the game. Oftentimes when investing in real life, I have to pick between properties to buy. That capital will be stuck in that deal for at least a year, so I'm always careful to decide with care. The thing about mortgages though, is that they're a great way to raise money so you can buy houses or more hotels. I have $6 million of real life mortgages. I do cash out refinances so that I can pull out the money and use it for new investments or just live off of. The great thing is they're tax free. That's one of the most magical things about real estate loans. Trading is the secret sauce of Monopoly. Most likely, you will not land and purchase all 3 of light blue or orange. You will have to trade your way to a Monopoly set. And usually, you'll have to give another player a card that will give them a Monopoly. Creative deals in real life real estate investing mirrors Monopoly trading. Understanding what you're after gives you leverage to offer trades that benefit yourself in a net positive way. An example is offering a low-paying tenant in an apartment building money to leave. If I can get more rent when I find a new tenant, I can potentially get a higher return on capital spent. If I give them $10,000 to leave and I get $4,000 more in rent from the next tenant, I just got a 40% return on investment. And that is my Monopoly strategy. I hope you can use this to dominate your next games, and maybe in real life property investing. It's nice to have all the cash.
Shadow! Shadow, buddy! You're back! Buddy! Oh, buddy! Oh my God. Please like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Good boy, Shadow. Good boy. Oh, yeah.